part of the reason that the tip of the tongue phenomenon happens, as well as retrieval failure, is because of something known as interference. So items will typically compete with each other for retrieval. So something kind of interesting, if you want to remember something for a test the next day, one of the best things that you can actually do is study. And then once you're done studying, wait about an hour. Oh, don't study for anything else and then go to sleep. And the reason that that works so well, studying right before, maybe an hour before you go to bed, is because you aren't introducing any additional information to interfere with it. So generally, you don't want to study for one test and then study for another test or stay up and expose yourself to more information that will potentially interfere with your memory of the material you studied. So going to sleep after you study is a really good thing to do. Timing, though, is pretty critical. You want to wait at least an hour before you go to sleep instead of studying and then turning off the light and going to bed. And the reason for that is that you need time for that memory trace to really settle into your hippocampus in a process known as consolidation. If you go to sleep right after studying, just a few minutes or a few seconds, what we know is that the hippocampus won't have had time to consolidate that memory and really solidify it. So you want to wait a little while after studying before you go to sleep. Don't study anything else within that hour, though. The timing is really critical for that. Forgetting will often happen because of interference. So oftentimes we find that learning new information can actually disrupt our ability to retrieve other information. So for example, here, this particular woman is studying French, and then she studies Spanish. And then on her French exam, because she studied Spanish and then took the exam, what we find is that her studying Spanish actually hurts her memories for studying French. And this is what's known as retroactive interference. This is a case where new information is interfering with our ability to remember old information. And it's part of the reason why you should study for one class and then maybe an hour later go to sleep. And the reason for that is because if you learn any new information, it will contribute to this retroactive interference and you won't be able to remember the information you need the next day. So, retroactive interference, we tend to find that new memories will interfere with old memories. So, researchers have actually looked at this because sleep actually prevents retroactive interference from happening. So, they have these two different groups of participants that learned a list of nonsense syllables. And then one group basically went to sleep, and then another group stayed awake. So 8 hours after learning the syllables, the group that went to sleep actually has much better memory performance than the people who had to stay awake. And that's because while you're sleeping, you are not learning any information. When you're sleeping, you're not learning anything. Your brain is effectively kind of shut down. And so, because of that, you can't learn any new information that would hurt your ability to remember things. So, sleep actually prevents retroactive interference from happening. But if you stay up, you're learning more and more information that can potentially interfere with the items that you studied. Interference is a little bit different. This is when old memories interfere with new ones. So, for example, let's say that I tend to park my car in the exact same space in the parking lot every single day. And then one day somebody takes my spot and I have to park somewhere else. Now, generally, where do you think I'm going to go and look for my car? If I've been used to parking it in the same place over and over and over again, and today I have to park it somewhere different, what I'm probably going to do is go to where I normally park my car. So this is a case where an old memory is interfering with a new one. So, a way that you can remember the difference between retroactive versus